Now then, time for my friend's opinions. Now, the first opinion I'm going to mention is from my friend Brit. Now, she says that when it comes to fan service in manga, she can tolerate it better, but when it's in anime, it makes her feel uneasy. Maybe because when it's animated, it gives a more real look. And if there's too much, she'll stop watching or reading. She says she's okay with it as long as it's not constant. And as an example of this, she gives Rosario Vampire. That manga fan service is actually really funny and able to focus on the story, which levels them both out. But in the anime, it's a bit disgusting and just a little bit too much. Now, here is the opinion of another friend of mine, who I shall now be referring to as friend number 1. And she thinks that there's too many big boobs in anime and manga, and I kind of agree with that. She said, seriously, there could be awesome and cool characters without the extra 100 cups going around. I actually laughed at this. I thought it was quite good. If it's for comedy purposes, then it's one thing, but even that is getting overused. And if 99.99998% of the cast of characters have these giant boobs, it's like, what's the point? Even the ecchi related comics have been pulling these up too much nowadays. You can have a hot girl cast with reasonable sized breasts. I agree with that last one because Rukia in Bleach is pretty awesome and she's like as flat as a board. Seriously. And then you've got Orihime, who the total size of both of her breasts is probably about 3 times the size of her head. So, thanks for the opinion. I now have the opinion of another friend, who I shall be referring to now as friend number 2. She says, fan service in anime and manga, I think it is just what it is, fan service. Lol. There is not really a way to get away from it, and it can be annoying when it pops up a bit too much in your favourite scenes, but I suppose we have just to push it aside sometimes and continue to enjoy the show. I agree, it is rather annoying when it does pop up. Like, at one point to get really awesome and suddenly fan service. Yeah, it's a bit annoying. But, I agree, it is pretty much generic now that you can have some fan service. Now I have the opinion of who should be now known as friend number 3. And he says that I'm basing my opinion on one aspect of the anime. For example, Infinite Stratos is very mildly to heavily weighed for fan service, but it doesn't ruin the action or the plot of the story. It's okay to mention that sometimes the anime does take it too far, but that doesn't stop it from being fun. And with some other stuff, I'm just going to cut this down because I'm running out of time. So basically he says that fan service is part of the personal experience of the anime, kind of like an RPG will conduct you to be like the main character, someone you can reflect yourself as. That fan service is a device to help this. Yes, it does go overboard sometimes, but I don't think it needs a rant video or even to be mentioned above a comment, yeah, that's a bit too far. Oh well. I kind of agree, it doesn't really need a rant video so much, but this isn't really much of a rant, is it? It's kind of me just rambling on, mentioning a couple of other people and showing you a couple of clips. That's about the extent of it, to be quite honest. But again, I appreciate your opinion. And now, very briefly, back to the opinion of friend 1, I believe it was, who mentioned about the size of breasts in anime, and I have to say that for me the limit is that once it gets to 3 times the size of the girl's head, then it's a bit too far. Well, 2 to 3 times the size of the girl's head, then it's a bit too far. Depends on the situation though. Orihime at the moment, with the size of both her breasts, it is probably about 3 to maybe 4 times the size of her head, but it's okay because it's Orihime. You've kind of gotten used to it by now. It's just that suddenly they've jumped up what appears to be like 3 cup sizes in the 17-month kind of time skip in the anime. I shall be wrapping this up now. I would just like to thank everybody who took part in giving me their opinions and stuff like that. So basically, fanservice is good, but only if it's done well, in my opinion. Not much of a conclusion, is it really? But, you know. So, anyway, thanks for sticking through this. It is a very long video, I must admit. Didn't expect it to be this long, but, you know. Hey, right. Thank you. Signing off now. Goodbye.